Ahoy there, Captains, and welcome to another guide for Cryptobay. This is the Absinthe, and for this video, I will be explaining the newly released feature, Boss Fight. Now, to start off, let's go to the wiki, as this should be the first step for any new feature. So, click on Boss Fight to find out the details on how this works. So, let me explain this as thoroughly as I can. So boss ships appear randomly. Currently, we are on the third boss, the Black Pearl being the first, the Flying Dutchman, I believe, is the second, and the Endeavor is the third ship. Now, the duration appears to be different on each of the bosses. The first boss was 1 day, the Flying Dutchman was 2 days, and the current boss is 3 days. Now, let's go back. So challenge points. The users can pay multiple times and challenge the boss multiple times. Each challenge will have points and the points will not be covered independently. So this is a bit incorrect since each of your attempts would count for an independent rating. So if you get say 30 points and 28 points, both the reward for 38 and 30 points and 28 points will be awarded, even if you use the same ship. And if you get the same score twice, as explained here, if you get 36 two times, you'll have two records for 36 points on that boss, and you would be rewarded based on the number of attempts or players in that rank. So if the reward was 1000 pearl and both of the 36 points belong to you and no other ships are there, you would get 1000 pearls. If there were one other ship and you have two ratings for 36 points, then you would get two-thirds of the reward and one-third would go to the third ship. Now, the prize pool is all of the challenge funds plus the boss ship bonus, which is provided by the game, and a 10% burning tax is removed from the actual pearl total. So this is one of the ways that pearl is burned. This is a burn mechanism, and that's explained here. Number four, bonus distribution. There are three kinds of reward distribution schemes. So for the first scheme, it's 40 for the first place, 30 for the second place, 20% for the third place. So only the top three scores are rewarded. But for each tier or each score, multiple captains could get it. So same as explained above, if the top score is say 32 and two people get 32, they'll have 20% instead of they'll divide 40% among the two of them, so 20% each. Now scheme number two, same concept, but this time it's an even distribution of 9% to all 10 of the um, ranks or 10 of the highest score. Now, same um, concept, multiple users could occupy each of the ranks. Now, for scheme 3, which is the current scheme of the boss, it's all the players combined would get a reward depending on the score they received. So the higher the score, the higher the percentage, and it goes down um, as the score becomes lower, and multiple people could split the reward. This is one of the reasons why I am I haven't participated on the third boss yet since the reward is too low, and that since multiple people are able to split the reward, that minuscule reward becomes even lower. Now, um, the stats of the ship. So when you enter the boss, every captain is equal. So your ship does not really matter. You are going to use the same appearance of your ship, but the stats are 600 points in total, which you are able to distribute through this screen here. And the minimum stat that you could set is 50 points for any given stat, and your total must be 600. It cannot be lower than 600. It cannot be higher than 600. Now, once you've distributed this, you click on fight and pay the entrance pearl, which is uh, set on the boss. So let's go back to the boss fight screen. My browser is lagging. There you go. So this current boss costs 10 pearl to enter. The second boss was 20 pearl. The first boss was 10 pearl. So that means that the cost may vary depending on the boss, and we are not yet sure if it would be a different boss for the fourth boss or a shuffle of the other three. So we just have to wait for the announcement on that. Now, this has already been explained that the rankings can be the same. So this is one of the things that most captains are not aware of. The base HP of the player ship is 15. So if you set your space stat to 50, your HP is automatically 15. It could be higher than 50 if your space stat is higher than the boss's space stat. So it would be key to know the stats of the boss. Now, Udemons for this feature do not have any special effects, so they are following the same 600 stat rule and no additional bonuses. Now let's go to the actual boss fight, and let me provide you with some tips and tricks, and hopefully it loads. There you go. So I ranked second on the first boss here, and three of us divided the reward of 10,000 pearl, and rank one was only one person, so he managed to solo all of this pearl. And on the second boss, I placed third, splitting the prize with another captain. So I received 2,000 pearl on this boss here. Now for this current boss, if you click on rank, you could see that the total prize pool to be divided is close to 7,000. The highest score right now is 35 points divided by one person, and his share is just 0.68% of this pearl. So if even if that was 1%, 1% of 7,000 pearl is just 70 pearl. For an entrance of 10, that's a very marginal profit. But for the sake of this video, I will fight this boss and show you the stats, which I currently do not know what the stats of this boss is. I will be using the same stats I used for boss number 1, and this was the setting I used. Now, this might not apply to this boss. We do not know the stats yet. The stats appear to be random depending on the boss. So, wish me luck. Let's go and see how far we get with the stats. I'll explain the reason behind this after. So, this boss is a torpedo type, and since we don't have defensive skills, he has high evasion. More than likely, he would be doing um, evasion instead of shield. So that's why I used missile, and so just so we could burn his defensive skills, let's use our heal. And this lag would definitely kill me. Now, it appears that the boss also did not get a good hand since he's using cannons after that first torpedo. And he might still have heal. And no, he did not have heal. So that was a very good turn for us. Now, we don't know what skill he would use yet, but hopefully he uses evasion. So let's use our missiles. And he uses the same pattern of um, torpedo first. So ideally, you'd want to use your heals for their defensive skill. So earlier is better, so that when they do use heal, we'll be dealing damage. Now we've dealt 8 damage so far, and he might use Torpedo again first. So let's do our evasion and manage to evasion first. The pattern is not always the same, but I've noticed from my testing that um, using the same ship prompts the same pattern most of the time. So if you know the pattern, the more attempts you try, the more you'll be able to get it down. So changing ships is not ideal, and lagging is also not ideal. And he might use defensive skills, so it's an alternate. He's doing offense, defense, offense, defense. So my heal both landed on his defensive stat, maximizing it, and I was able to deal damage when he did heal. I have anchor, so let's use heal for his attack and use one of the anchors on his defensive ability since he used torpedo that failed, and he might still have defensive ability, so using heal would maximize that. Using missile would also be ideal, but since he hasn't used shield yet, he might have used shield and cancelled our missile. So I'm using cannon first just to make sure that he doesn't have shield. And finish it off with missile. So right now he's down to 38, and we're on our last um 7 hit points. Missile. I clicked torpedo instead of missile, but that's fine. Let's see if he does an alternate again. Let's do heal. Hopefully it clicks before the time runs out. There you go. So heal is maximized again, and missile is maximized. Excellent. So let's do cannon and just match his heal if he still has heal. Down to 6. We've dealt 17 damage so far. Not a bad run for just testing this out. Now let's try to evade his torpedo. He uses shield first most of the time, so let's do heal first. Then do our offense with the cannon. He uses evasion this time and not an offense skill. So that's fine. We could still maximize our missile. And hopefully he doesn't get a good heal. There we go. So we're down to 7 and dealt 20 damage. This is definitely an easier boss compared to the previous two. So we're still managing to survive with our hit points. However, our draw is not, seems to be getting worse. Hopefully, we bounce back on the next turn. As long as we're dealing damage, we're scoring points. We're already at 22 with 4 hit points left. We got an anchor. Let's torpedo. And he changes it up. And we've this is the end of our road, and I'm still surviving since he only has a missile. Oh, he has torpedo and missile left. So we've survived one more round to try and deal more damage. Let's try to heal up. And he didn't let us heal with our 1 hit point heal. So 23 is not a bad run. I could have done that better if it wasn't lagging so hard and I was focusing more. So let's see. For 23, 6 of us are splitting that reward. So 2.63 of 7,000, that's around 15 pearl, I believe. Somewhere along there. So it appears I still haven't lost pearl, which is fine. and hopefully that gives you an idea how to fight the boss. For the second boss, I used a totally different set of stats, but the concept was the same. Currently, the best meta is heal, so you'd want to have heal as your highest stat so that your ship becomes a cruiser and you get double heals. Um, you then have to adjust your other stats, match the boss's stats to get the least amount of anchors, which is the goal. And since base stat is not efficient as um, to increase during the boss fight, I suggest just setting it to 50 so you could have 50 points to distribute to other stats. Now, I hope that helps. Have a great day, Captains.